So again, we turn the page, beginning of year planning. What's the number one tip that you give your clients as you approach a new year?
I mean, I don't know if it's the number one tip, but it's definitely something I would look at is kind of rebalance and readjust, look at your portfolio, right? For folks that are doing it themselves, or maybe they have a 401k that they're still contributing to. A lot of people have that set it and forget it mentality with 401ks. Obviously, if you're working with us, we're rebalancing the portfolios. We're doing all that along the way for you. But, sometimes, like I said, those, folks that have 401ks, 403bs, these retirement plans that they're just putting money into, they never make the adjustments. And, you're another year older, another year closer to potentially retirement, and you want to make sure you're making adjustments mainly to risk and maybe potential opportunities. Maybe the company's added new funds and you haven't paid attention to that, or whatever it is. Spend some time and learn a little bit more about your 401k, 403b, your retirement accounts. After all, they're the things that are going to really push you through the next 25, 30 years after you do retire. I mean, it's an important aspect. It's the cornerstone of what it is you have in a lot of cases.
Well, and I just want to go back, because I know we were talking about the 20-year, our own sort of anniversary coming up in September. But it really, it's amazing how time passes. And I know it's cliche, and that's fine, of course. But just more the idea that, as you were saying, with each passing year, you are that much closer to retirement. Now, very often, a lot of these 401ks will have what are called TDFs, or target date funds. Now, interestingly enough, or frustrating, I should say, is that a lot of those target date funds did not do too well in 2022, in the sense of, and let me step back and explain. So, a lot of these 401ks will have what's called a target date fund, where when you first enroll, it's a mutual fund, and it will be a 2040 fund, or a 2045 fund, or a 2030 fund, or a 2025. It's like a target date year on a mutual fund that should be getting more and more conservative the closer you get to that actual year. So in theory, the 2025 fund is going to be a whole lot more conservative than the 2050 fund, because people that are retiring in 2025 are only 2 years away. Now, as I said, what was kind of maddening in 2022 was that a lot of these target date funds that were quote-unquote conservative did not hold up as well, and that was because of sort of the carnage that happened in the bond market. So if you do have one of those target date funds in your 401k, the portfolio should be naturally rebalancing as each year passes. Now, that's not to say it's for everybody, and certainly you do want to make sure that you want to be aware of the underlying risk in that fund, no matter what happens. But then also, very often people don't choose the target date funds, and they'll have a sort of a slew of options. And when's the last time you took a look at those options? Because Keith, to your point, I mean, there's a lot of change that's happening within 401ks, and companies are constantly coming out with new investment selections within their 401k.